We're
Alrighty,
good.
everybody. Welcome to the Sports Ramble podcast. With Garrett is finally back from, doing work and life. Obviously, that takes a big toll. And we have Trey as well. My name is Matthew. Guys, everyone, welcome in. The NBA Finals is getting off to a thing, but the big controversy surrounding that is the reffing unfair. Now, the last time we've seen some unfair reffing was between the LA Lakers and the Sacramento Kings back in the early 2000s, where it was revealed after years of debate that it was Tim Donaghy rigged the reffing in favor of the LA Kings, although he was betting on games at that point. So people were speculating now that it's happening again, at least to make it a competitive series. Personally, I think reffing in the NBA is hard, difficult enough as it is. If you're gonna accuse the referees now of cheating, at least have some evidence. I can understand some calls are bad, but that's just in general. I don't know. What are your guys' takes on this?
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. Uh, I mean, they're not robots. They're not going to get every call right 100% of the time. And I would say I haven't watched every single minute of this series, but I would say for the most part, I mean, usually when refs make a bad call, you know, they make a makeup call for it. The dogs, a minute, and then we're good because they make it up with another call for the other team. So I mean, one team's more aggressive, and some people don't like that they're getting more calls because they're more aggressive, and so I don't know. We'll see what comes of it.
And my
I
take
think.
of it, I mean, it's just like you gotta play. The refs have to pick both sides because it's the double standards. Like, okay, this is how you're gonna call the game. Like, say like the ref calls a foul call in the first quarter and they don't call in the fourth quarter. It has to go like you have to like play both sides. Like because especially like whenever Shea started pushing off, they didn't really call that. It was kind of really like a semi push, but not really a push off. But I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to create space, and Nate Smith was trying to like draw like for an offensive foul. But it just goes both ways when it comes to like refs, especially like in a controversial game, like Game 4 for the Pacers and the Thunder. But it's for the rest, I make sure like just call it fair. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like it's basketball, and it's not like nothing you can control at this point. It's just the refs can call a game and rig a game because back in 2006, that was a straight rig job by the refs because Dwayne Wade pretty much shot the same amount of free throws that the whole Mavericks team did the whole series. But so it just goes like both ways. Like, okay, if you're gonna call on this team, make sure you call on the other team to make it fair, because like he's not gonna be fair ball. Because especially if
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah, if OKC plays aggressive defense, Indiana can play aggressive defense. They can't especially Lou Dort of all people, he likes to tackle people. I'm not saying he does, but like the way he plays physical on defense, and the way he flops, like last year, whenever the Mavericks or any other center sets the screen on, he flops. He legitimately flops, and it's an automatic offensive foul. So and then they've been holding on not blowing that whistle whenever he does that now. So I'm kind of like, huh.
You're kind of like, what the?
So it goes both ways.
Well, so I've talked about this before, but do you think that there's actually two things? Well, first, there's a little bit of a statement. I saw something earlier today that during the negotiations for the obviously for all the new rules that they should have an embellishment rule. So if it's an obvious flop, do you think that should lead to a foul? Personally, I think yes. If it's blatantly a flop, then yeah, that's a foul. You should get a foul for that. But also, do you guys think that the refs should the refs hold a press conference for some after the game for some of the calls that they've made, or at least in general? Maybe it doesn't have to be a press conference like for the players. You know how the players press conference goes for 20, 30 minutes. There's going to just be a 5-10 minute thing. It's pretty simple.
I believe the refs should have a press conference if it's like a controversial game, especially like during the playoffs. If it's like a controversial call that changed the game or changed the momentum of the game that had the opposing team win and caused the other team to lose. So it just pretty much just depends on the situation of the game. If it's like a blowout, it's like it doesn't really mean anything. But if it's a close game, of course. Just imagine like the ratings whenever it comes to that.
Yeah, the NFL kind of does this. If like Trey said, with a blowout, I mean, doesn't really matter. But with a close game and a bad call, they'll usually go afterwards and they'll kind of evaluate it, and the head referees, wherever they are, will publish a statement um, out to the public that they were wrong or they were right, and they got all these different opinions and all these things. So I think like a live press conference afterwards. I think it'd be a good idea. Give the refs a taste of what some of the players go through afterwards.
Yeah. One thing I've always hated was the fact that a lot of referees, say they make a screw up call, regular season and or playoffs, you don't really hear that they get repercussions for it. Oh, they made a mistake. Well, if it's, in my opinion, it's like, oh, well, they won't ref that series anymore. Well, great, it doesn't matter. The series is over, or the series is, they don't face repercussions. I think that if in any sport, if a referee like royally screws up a call, it's a game differing call. You should be suspended for at least the rest of the playoffs, or you should never ref the playoffs again. Baseball kind of does that, where if there's a bad call, they'll switch crews. It's not really they don't get fined or suspended. They'll just go to a different crew and they'll work a different crew. It's like that's just like saying, "Oh yeah, I screwed up our group project, guys. I'm gonna go work with this other group, and you guys go work with that group." I don't know. I just think refs should be held more accountable for the actions that they provide. I don't think they don't get. I feel like when any a team or player criticizes the officiating, they get fined, not the refs for screwing up the call.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And because like think about it, like the last minute report for whenever like the NBA does it, it's kind of like, well, we just gotta like wait for the last minute report. And it's because there was a game the Mavericks played against New Orleans whenever Spencer Dinwiddie was going up for a layup. It was all like, and then I think Trey Murphy blocked it, but it was a goaltend. They didn't call it. The ball hit the backboard, and that's when Trey Murphy blocked it. And hopefully Garrett comes back, but
He
hopefully
will.
Garrett's good. But anyways, but he went up for the layup, got blocked, of course, but the ball hit the backboard, so it should have been called goaltend. So, and in the last minute report, they didn't call it goaltend. So and then the Mavericks lost. So then we waited to the last minute report. Well, it was on automatic goaltend. We missed it. So it was like, well, what can we do with that information now? Since it's like the next day of that, I was like, well, like we can't do anything about it now. We can't protest the game.
Yeah.
Even though like people like try to say like, oh, we could try protesting the game. Was like, that's not really gonna make a difference. Like people try and say like, "Oh, we're gonna protest this game," and how it was like, first of all, the NBA is not gonna do that, even if it was like a blatant, obvious like game changing call. Oh, yeah, maybe, but like probably not because like the money wise, they ain't gonna do it.
The most notable I can think of is when was it? Is it 2016? Was that the year that the Saints got screwed over in the NFC Championship?
No, I know
That's
2018.
2018.
2018.
Okay, that's the most notable I can think of.
That was rigged.
When they admitted afterwards that the call was wrong. And I swear I saw somewhere that there's some rule that the commissioner can evoke to reverse that game or like keep resume the game right at that point or something like that. But that never happened. So like you said, Trey, um, all the protesting, all the like arguing is all for naught at the end of the day, and them putting out that statement, it's just kind of closure in a way, but it doesn't really change anything.
Yeah, you still feel just as bad as you did when it happened. Like, and then if you dare say something like, "Oh my God, that was the worst call I've ever seen. Those refs need to be fired." If I said that, Goodell's gonna fine me 10K for spouting my mouth off. It's like, well, they're the ones who screwed up the call. Why aren't they getting fined? So, but one thing there's a lot of backlash, and I just saw this earlier today, this morning actually. Stephen A. Smith was playing solitaire while
Ah,
watching the NBA Finals. And a lot of people are upset at him because it's like, how can you have all these opinions? How can you, be who you are when you're not even watching the game? And to me, I'm kind of on both sides of it. Like, I hate that he did that because it's like he's not even paying attention. Because like, what if he misses a cool play that he can talk about later?
Mm-hmm.
But I've been a victim of this as well, where when I'm broadcasting, sometimes I'm not always paying attention, so I'll forget, or I'll already base my opinion on what I previously saw, so I already have what I'm gonna say. So I kind of get on Stephen A's side of that, but dude, I'm not a public figure like he is. I'm not in the spotlight like he is every week. So to me, for him to do that to me is just like no one's gonna take your opinion seriously now after they see something like this.
yeah, because it just takes like his self awareness was not the greatest at the time. Because think about it, if you're a public figure, you gotta be aware of your surroundings, and like especially in the sports world. And I was like, look, you're a top analyst in the sport, been getting top $1 million money for ESPN, being your top analyst, and you're playing solitaire in the NBA Finals. So it's kind of like, well, what we doing? Now it's gonna turn
Yeah,
ESPN into a joke. Well, it's like and make the NBA a laughing stock rather than taking it seriously because they're taking away the actual product, which is the NBA game and the NBA Finals. May I add to like a solitaire game, which people are going to talk about the solitaire game than the actual finals, which is it's kind of
yeah,
it's crazy, but that's how social media is nowadays. People talk about like the other stuff than the main product.
Yeah, then Stephen A. Smith becomes more of a story than the actual game, and like what are we doing here? It's just a man playing solitaire. Maybe he was just bored, and I don't blame him. I mean, because like I feel like this finals has been well, it's been exciting. It has, but I think the way the Pacers play, they just wear you down. So they don't do anything impressive like physically. They just wear you down.
yeah. No, I agree. And going from that, I just gotta hear your guys' opinions on this. And what do you guys think the rest of the series shapes up for? What do we as we all come back here as we all come back here after dropping? um, but yeah, what do you guys expect to see going forward?
I see it's probably gonna go to 7 because I believe OKC is gonna get Game 5, of course, and then Indiana's gonna win Game 6. Then Indiana's gonna win Game 7 for entertainment value, of course. Because this is probably like the most entertaining finals probably since 2022, and that's saying something because
Yeah,
Golden State and Boston played, and that's when everyone that was like the last real finals like played because no one really counts when the Mavericks were there last year, but we were just like we all knew Boston was gonna win. It was gonna take a miracle for us to win. And then Miami and Denver was like Miami was totally overmatched over my like Denver. We all knew it was gonna be a sweep or 5 game series. So it was like one of those things where it's like, look, you gotta like the entertainment value for Indiana and OKC, and the reason why people don't watch it because there's no superstar on the teams. Which
Yeah.
brings me to my question: what are the true like superstars in the league in the NBA right now? And whenever I say like superstar, I mean like box office. Like, okay, like let me go and see. I'm not trying to see like that team. I want to see him. I want to go to the game to see that player.
I mean, I think LeBron is still one of those. Are we still talking about uh, playoffs, or just well?
Like,
I guess we already established there's no more. Yeah, I think LeBron is definitely still one of those. I mean, he'll always be
Yeah.
LeBron,
Yeah.
whether
And,
he's
and
41.
especially considering like it'll be his like one of his last seasons. It's kind of like when MJ was gonna his first retirement was like it's gonna be his last time in Madison Square Garden or whatever like that. So people are gonna want to come to see him play in that last game. So that's obviously one. I don't want to put. I know people would probably put Kevin Durant. I'm not going to put him there because he's not. I don't go. No one goes to the games to watch specifically him. In my opinion, I would go Ant Edwards because obviously he's a big star now. Like I think Ant Edwards is another one. He's starting to become the what a lot of people call the face of the league. Even though I think Shea's kind of starting to take over that, but Shea is another one too, and
okay.
mostly because I think he's in the finals.
And I gotta give you with the SGA, but the reason why people are so like is I try they're trying to force the next face of the NBA, and I want to happen. Like, I want that to happen organically, not like force it on someone. Then guess what? It's gonna have that player, whoever's like the next face, or they're trying to make it the next face. They're gonna have so much pressure on themselves, and guess what? They're gonna like not play to that potential, and then that's when everyone's gonna like, oh, that player sucks. He gone.
Yeah,
So like think about like all the international like players, Giannis, Jokic, Luca, like those like box office like international superstars. That's one of the reasons why the game became internationally. And going back, like let's go back to let's go to the WNBA for an example. If you think about like if you say WNBA, who do you think of?
you think of obviously Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Buchers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
You get like some past retired ones: Sue Bird, Diana
yep, Sue
Taurasi,
Bird. Yep.
Graham Stewart, all those people. Brittany Griner, if you're into
If you're
that,
that fan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because think about it. The viewership went down whenever Caitlin Clark got hurt. And that's the thing, it was like, let's think about this. If Caitlin Clark were to get hurt, God forbid, or like say like she never goes to pro, the WNBA viewership would not be the same. Because Angel Reese
I
is
agree.
famous for the wrong reasons. I mean, like people watch her, but like because like they try to like make fun of her. Like she's she's doing good. She's getting double doubles every game. She's getting rebounds so like, and she grew up in college. Like people watch her in college, both her and Caitlin Clark. So they kind of like watched her grow into like going to the WNBA. And Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and possibly now Paige Bucher is barring like the next like woman up to be like, okay, we're gonna be the new era of women hoops. To like, look, we're gonna make WNBA popular again, make that viewership
Yeah.
go up.
Hmm.
And I can't believe we forgot to mention one person who pretty much changed the game. Steph. That's why people watch Caitlin Clark.
But that's the
It
thing
reminds
is
everyone of Steph.
but Trey, I think Steph's past that not his obviously a little bit past his prime, but no one talks about Steph anymore because he was the face of the league. But then now with I think being the face of the league also determines on how good your team is doing. So if Luca had kept with the Mavs and their team kept making the playoff, Eastern Conference Finals, second round, heck, even final, making the finals, you would start seeing Luca as the face of the franchise. But now people kind of look at him as, okay, now he's the successor to LeBron, but he's not the face. It's the same thing with Steph. Like since Golden State hasn't done so well, since winning in 2022, or yeah, they haven't really and getting rid of Clay, and they just haven't really reached that echelon of main event status. So it's like people kind of forget Steph's now flying under the radar. He's still around. He's still doing great things, still hitting those threes, but nobody really talks about him. He's not grabbing headlines anymore.
People still talk about him though, and that's the
No, I know.
crazy part. People still talk about because, like, think about it. That man single-handedly created a super team. Think about it, and he was the first unanimous MVP in league history. And that's like talking about this has prime James Harden, prime Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, and and God goat mode himself in Cleveland, and he won like no other person, no other player got a vote instead for Steph in that 2016 season.
But that also goes with the people he was surrounded by, I think, and to Matthew's point, because that would have been KD, Clay. He got that super team around him, um, and it just made him better, and it made him shine like we're used to seeing him shine. But now he has to kind of do all the work himself, more or less, because nobody else, I mean, really is on that team that can help him play off the ball and take the pressure, take the double team off of him. And so that's the problem now, and why he's not being talked about. I think because he's always getting doubled. You don't have to really worry about anybody else in the Warriors. Um,
Because
yeah,
whenever Clay, like, yeah, I gotta agree with you, Garrett. Like, whenever Clay left, that took like, okay, since Clay's gone, only Steph's like the main primary shooter in the starting lineup for them. I know they got like Podzemski, Jimmy Butler. He's more of a playmaker now, not a scorer. And Draymond's Draymond. So it's one of those things where it's like, look, Steph, Steph himself might carry you to a play-in spot, but yeah, I gotta agree with y'all. It's just the team around him, and just now is like Steph might. He had a chance this year, but then he got hurt, and then now the ages might be coming up on him now, which like it's unfortunate. Same with like if LeBron never turned his had that ankle sprain in 2021. LeBron probably might be having like a good 2 or 3 years left in him. But since that ankle sprain happened, he wasn't the same player like explosively like wise. He wasn't like he couldn't jump as much like as high like as before. But LeBron's still the top base until he retires in the league. There's like no questions asked. And then I gotta since like he's like probably the most influential player, second to Allen Iverson. I gotta give it to Steph, number two. And then probably either like what Matthew said, and like Anthony Edwards as the next like superstar, which I can see it happen, or SGA, I can see it happen too. they're marketing them as like the next face in the league. I can see it happen. And then 4 or 5 and 6, I gotta give like either Giannis, Luca, or Jokic. Those are like the three. Uh,
Yeah.
anyone's like interchangeable.
Is
Because
Jason
like
Tatum in your top 10?
yeah, they're in my top 10 like superstar list. No, not my top 10. Like you know what I mean.
No.
Like
Is Jason
superstars in
Tatum
the
in your
league.
top 10?
Like my top 10 like in the league right now based off talent or like best like
Yeah, superstar status, I guess.
superstar status. That's like number one is LeBron, two is Steph, three I gotta give like based on popularity wise Luca. Probably give it to Giannis because people still wear Giannis stuff. Jokic 5, then SGA, then Ant, then possibly. If you think about it, no one really talks about like Wemby because they're pretty much like they're like, oh, he's the next GOAT after LeBron. Think about it. And number 10 is like interchangeable. That could be anyone else. So that's mine.
Yeah.
I know y'all got like y'all's differences, and I get
No, I
it.
like that.
Yeah, but that's just mine.
I think it's a solid list. I'm not gonna maybe the bottom three you probably change in and out, but other than that, I don't have a complaint.
But yeah.
But the big controversy, I guess, now surrounding teams is the tackle. Do teams with obviously with KD wanting to be traded to a team that kind of proves his point that they could.
Matt?
I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just how I feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree because like the KD, I mean, he's kind of ruining his legacy at this point. How you feel about Garrett? How you feel about the KD
I don't.
situation thing?
He should he should have stayed in Golden State. I mean, because I feel like ever since he left Golden State, it's kind of been a downward slope for his like you said, his legacy. Um, he was riding high with Golden State. On his peak, or going up the hill with OKC, won an MVP with them, won an MVP with I think Golden State.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and then he got traded to the Knicks, or excuse me, the Nets, and everything kind of went down from there. Uh, and then after the Nets came the Suns, obviously, and he didn't really do anything there. Um, it just hasn't been great after he left Golden State. So I think that was a big mistake.
Just imagine if he didn't leave. Just imagine if he didn't leave Golden State to go to Brooklyn to play with Kyrie. The whole trajectory of the league would be different.
Yeah.
I think
Think
the Warriors would still be on top or close to the top.
oh yeah, like Steph and KD probably would have.
Oh,
Let's think about it.
I don't think they'd have more than 2 championships, but they'd easily be in the top 4 teams. Like they'd make the conference finals or they'd make the second round almost every year.
Yeah, and because then like if you think about it, Draymond blew up those two teams, those two
Yeah.
championship teams. Draymond, the whole KD fiasco in 2019, and then the Jordan Poole thing in 2022, whenever he punched him in training camp. They were gonna go back to back if you think about it. But then Draymond punched Poole, boom. Traded a young player for Chris Paul, who was who's old. He ain't the same Chris Paul anymore. And who has history with Draymond and Steph. So I knew it bit them in the butt. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. So everyone's sitting here like, Draymond, what'd you do?
Now, with that, do you think now it's been a decent amount of time since he was drafted? Is it fair? I saw this today because it was an SI article. Do you think it's fair to put the bust label on Ben Simmons?
Ben Simmons?
Yep.
Absolutely. I think even his first couple years in Philly, they were already calling him the next like LeBron, the next GOAT. I mean, he was putting up triple doubles, and then he got hurt, and it just stopped. Like all of it just stopped. Couldn't make a three, still can't make a three, and
Yeah.
and here
Refuses
we
to shoot
are.
every time. Yeah.
Yeah, always passing up the shot.
I should have known it was over the second he passed. He tried to pass off the ball when Trey Young was right there in that first. Was it the first round or second round? I think, but it was just like I knew it was over there. I was like, dude, this guy does not want to
Yeah,
shoot. Like he's
that was
5'11", just dunk on him. You can dunk, can't you?
I
yeah,
watched
for
That's
that
kind of
real.
when
game.
you know it was over.
I watched that game. I watched it. That's when I knew it was like he ain't ready. Because think about it. They were calling him the
Yeah.
Prince. The
Yes, exactly.
Prince. Like the next coming of LeBron. I was like, oh my gosh, like he's gonna be the next LeBron. Like whenever he gets his jump shot, like think about it.
Yeah.
That didn't never
That was gonna lose
happen.
their minds. Yeah.
And guess what? Like now he's about to be either out the league or some other team, probably be a bench player.
Yep. You know who someone compared him to? And Trey, you know this. You might know it too, Garrett. Bismack Biyombo. Someone
Oh,
compared him to that. That's his career
ouch,
trajectory. Bismack Biyombo.
ouch. That
Because
hit.
you remember when Bismack played, he wasn't great. He was okay, but that's kind of how Ben Simmons was. Then he fluttered out, and then he had a second kind of a mini resurgence, but then never he was never averaging more than I think it was like 10 or 11 points a game, which is it's okay for a role player, but I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, at least Nick Batum could shoot the ball, and even he was a decent role player and swingman. That's all he was for his career.
Yeah.
So I mean, and one thing about the NBA Finals, and I guess it goes in any sport, is there's a certain team obviously you want when you don't, win, but there's obviously that one where like you're gonna realize that either Shea or Halliburton is gonna get their first NBA championship, and it's like there's so many. You look at that and you go, God, there's so many guys that probably deserve it more than they do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the sad reality of sports. That's just how it is. And I was like, man, if Chris Paul could get one, that'd be great. Never gonna happen, obviously.
Hey, we'll
But
see with the Spurs next year. The Spurs.
Spurs
I
and
hope so.
KD.
Man.
Hey,
I'm hopeful.
Spurs
I'm
and
hopeful.
KD might happen. The Spurs and KD
Yeah,
might happen.
you got
And
Wembanyama, Chris Paul, Stephon Castle, I think is his name, and I think they have a first round pick as well.
oh
They
no,
So
do.
Stephon Castle might not be on the team though. He might be a part of
Yeah, they
that
might
KD
use him to
trade.
trade.
He might be in the trade. So that whole even okay. The thing about the Spurs thing with KD that could work. And actually, it might work. Actually, think about it because they got Darren Fox is there. People forgot Fox is there,
Mhm.
and if they keep Stephon Castle, that's a shooting guard right there, and who can play point guard as well. And that probably Devon Vassell, he gone in the trade. Kevin Johnson, he gone in the trade. Then Jeremy Shohan, he gone in that trade too. So the only spot that's left is that small forward position that can obviously fill up. Even Stephon Castle can play that small forward position because like he has the height for it.
But the problem is,
And
what do you have to give up though? That's the scary part because you might have to give up a top 10 at least one top 10 protected first round pick.
Yeah. At this point in his career, I don't think Katie's worth it. I don't.
I know he's
He,
not, but it's the name alone that's the problem.
oh,
Teams
yeah.
overthink that all the time. For whatever reason, general managers overthink that. They're like, we gotta give up a top pick because it's KD. It's the aura. It's not, it's the name and the aura that you're getting. Not the
Aura.
protection.
Yeah, and I think Greg Popovich would be smart about it if they do end up. I know he's not the GM officially, but he's in a management role, and I think his insight all the years with Team USA will definitely be helpful in assessing if they trade or not.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
And we'll kind of close it out here with the NBA, or excuse me, the NHL playoffs are rolling right along as well. Uh, the Florida Panthers take a 3-2 series lead over the Edmonton Oilers after a dominating 6-2 victory against the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton, and they were beaten by one man. That was 37-year-old Brad Marchand, who, if you know anything about Boston sports, they call him the Rat King because he's about as tall as me. And he is just a pest. But everyone loves him now because when you go away from Boston, everyone loves you. Look at Tom Brady. The second he left, you know, everyone loved him. Same thing with man. I don't think I'll ever see Jason Tatum ever leave Boston, but you never know. You never know
sure.
with him.
We never thought Luka was gonna get traded, but guess what? Look here,
Yeah,
here we are now. And guess what?
I would
I'm
put
not
that
gonna
trade
let that
honestly.
down. I'm it's
I would put that trade up there with in my mind the biggest trades, sports trades of all time. Obviously, the Wayne Gretzky trade when he went from Edmonton to LA because he was the greatest hockey player at the time. Babe Ruth going from Boston to New York, another big one, and then of course Luka, because it reiterates the statement as if nobody's safe in sports. Not one single person. No, I don't care if you're the best player. You're not safe. It's a business at the end of the day. If they want you gone, they're gonna have you gone.
because like Rafael Devers,
Yep.
perfect example. Who like he's still young. He's 28, third baseman for the Boston Red Sox. Got traded out of the blue to San Francisco for a bunch of players and a first overall pick. Actually, no, four of them for Devers, and it was more like I don't know. Same with the Luka trade. We didn't I had no clue Rafael Devers was on the trade block for them.
Mhm. I mean, and like Matthew said, at the end of the day, it just comes down to a money thing. It's a business. It's a sports team, sure, but you still got business people running the team, uh, and they'll do whatever it takes to improve the future or
Yeah.
improve the bottom
Yeah,
line
improve.
in
It's
some people's cases.
it's risk management because it's like, and apparently according to David Ortiz, like Devers' ego is what kind of got him off it. So like if you're clashing in the locker room, if there's internal strife in the locker room, then obviously not every argument in the dugout or locker room is going to be reported, and not every fight internally is going to be reported. But when you get, according to David Ortiz, he's like, well, if you get cocky, you can get off the team just as fast. That happened to me when and people forget David Ortiz started in Minnesota. He was a Minnesota Twin. Then they traded him to Boston because he was kind of a cocky kid. He said, I was a cocky young kid, and I threw my weight around and didn't have the weight to, and that got traded. So I think Devers is a thing. We'll probably learn later that he got traded because there might have been issues in the locker room and stuff like that. So we see stuff all the time. The same thing with Luka. Apparently, they label Luka as a cancer, even though he really wasn't. But it's just the labels you put on them get you sent packing. And so it's. I feel like the media also plays a big role in that. If the media reports, "Hey, this guy's had some issues in the locker room," teams can panic. It's risk management. I don't want a guy that is had bad reports about him on my team. I want him off. So Jerry Jones is the exception to that. Jerry Jones doesn't give a crap. He'll pick anyone that can play football. But Michael Irvin's the biggest example of that. But it just goes to show, like, if you're not willing to play ball, if you're not willing to play within the rules of what the team wants, then they don't have a need for you, which is a scary thought if you're going to play professional sports.
I mean, I gotta agree. Like, think about it, because the Miami Heat have a policy, the 5% body fat. Like, to be on, like, in the contract, you have to have a 5% body fat or lower to be on the team. Like Pat Riley, that's like Pat Riley's thing. So, well, goes to show how they run their franchise and like to a T. And like, look, but this is crazy because like Luka got traded for one first round pick, and Desmond Bain got traded for 4. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. We could have gotten 6 first overall picks, but no, we just got 1. And then I was like, oh, we're gonna give you 4 for Desmond Bain, which may I add will help Orlando for the long run. That helped them.
They just had the wrong trade partner.
Just damn. It just makes us look so
No, Garrett,
like
you're right.
it just
that was a 2K trade if I've ever seen one.
like dang. Like it just goes to show, like, look, we got fleeced. Yeah, I know we got Anthony Davis. But dang, we could have gotten more. We could have gotten more from Luka if we were going to trade Luka Doncic of all people. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
I like how everyone's like forgiving Nico. Yeah, oh God, Nico, we're so sorry. We got the first overall pick. It's like he had nothing to do with that. It's clearly rigged in their favor. So that just saved his job essentially.
We just traded for 2 white boys. That was it. The Lakers. Oh, y'all gonna get the first overall pick? Like, okay, you want Luka? Okay, just give us the first overall pick. We're gonna get Cooper Flag. That's pretty much what happened. Think about it.
Yeah. Exactly. But with that being said, guys, that is all the time we have for today. We're a little bit over time. Usually go 30 minutes, but today we felt extra special because of the NBA Finals. That's 42 minutes, right on
And
time.
Garrett's
So, guys,
back.
thank you so much for watching. Yes, exactly. Garrett's back. Don't worry. There's gonna be one. We're gonna do one episode. I'm gonna tell you this right now. We're gonna do one episode where it's just Garrett, and he's gonna have to carry the entire conversation. We're not gonna have our mics on. We're just gonna let him carry. We might respond with like a comment here or there, but that's about all we're gonna do. Just let him carry the show for the next 2 shows. It's just easier. No, but Garrett, thank you for coming back because I know life is and the job is not easy. I know it's not easy for you, but we're always happy to have you here. And Trey, same thing with you, man. It's great to have you. And if you guys, be sure to follow the Sports Ramble Instagram. It's always fun to see new people, chime in with their opinions. Just you guys shout out. If you guys have an opinion on this stuff, guys, let us know it. Like we'd love to hear it. Especially Trey. DM Trey because he likes DMs apparently.
Not like that, stupid. Anyways, but yeah, just I'm in a happy relationship. Jesus. But
No,
yeah,
DM your sports
if anything,
fans,
just send
not
us
just DM.
if any comment down on the Instagram page, the Sports Room Podcast Instagram page. Send us a DM if you have any like hot takes or any cold takes too. Like you think about it, like any take that comes to mind, just shout us out.
Yeah, let us know, guys. Yeah, for sure. And don't worry, one day we will have Garrett's dog on the podcast. Don't worry. Garrett's dog will join the podcast as a special guest.
He's just very active today.
Yeah, I saw. I was like, oh, he's trying to get in the view.
Our viewership will go up for sure.
Yeah, you got to get the dog audience on there. The dog owner audience.
Oh, yeah. We're cornering the market here, as it were.
Yeah, that's right.
Supply and demand.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. For Trey, for Garrett, I'm Matthew. We'll see you out there.